Okay, so this is Bryce Parks here. We are back looking at modify commands and in 2D drafting in AutoCAD. So here are the modify commands. If I click on that little down arrow, you can see there's a number of different modify features or modify commands that you can do in AutoCAD. We're going to start out with the first one here, which is just simply the move command. So it's the little 4 arrowheads pointing outward. If I click on that, it allows me to select the items I want to move. Now, one thing I failed to mention was if you hover your mouse over any of these for just a few seconds, it generally will pop up a little description to tell you what that command does or how to go about doing it. So just a FYI there, it does give you a little more detail there. So if I click on move, it says select the items that you want to move. If I want to move all of these, I can window around all of them and select them. If I want to move one item, I can just simply click on that one item. This was created as a rectangle, so these 4 lines are all joined together. But in this scenario, I'm just going to simply move this, and I want to locate it from the middle of this bottom line to the middle of the top line of this other rectangle. So once you've selected everything you want to move, you hit enter, or you can also keep your hand on the keyboard and hit spacebar. Spacebar is another quick way to do that. So I hit enter or spacebar, and then it tells me on the dynamic input here, specify the base point. So this is where do you want to move your item from. So I want to move it from the middle point, so I'm going to snap from the midpoint. And then I'm going to drag my cursor around. It says where do you want to move it to. Now in this particular case, I want to move it to the top point of this smaller rectangle. So I'm going to snap to that midpoint. In this case, this rectangle, which by the way, the rectangle command was right up here, so it's joined all 4 of those lines together. But this smaller rectangle and the larger rectangle are now joined and located together midpoint to midpoint. So that's one feature. You can also move in other ways, so you can select the item and hit move, and it will select everything that you've already highlighted and just ask you going right into specify the base point. So there's a couple different ways you can access that move command, and that's the same with all of these. You can select the command first, change the items you want to, or select the items you want to move, and then hit enter to get to that base point, and then you can drag it over. But the other way is you can select the item and then hit that, and it goes right into where's the base point. So I'm going to click it here. Notice that blue highlighted text box. That does allow you to be able to type in exact measurements. So if I want this box 1 inch exactly vertical, I can type in 1, and to get from the text box from one text box to the next, I hit tab, and so now it locks in that 1 inch gap, and it says what angle do you want that in. If I wanted it straight vertical, that would be a 90 degrees straight up. So I can type that in. Let me undo that. You could also do that by locking in your ortho, so specify the base point, and I could simply hit F8 on my keyboard, and it locks it either straight horizontal or straight vertical, and I could just hit 1 on my keyboard and bam, it locks it in. So that's the move command. The copy command is very similar to it. Whenever you select that, it says what items do you want to copy. So let's say we want to copy both of these rectangles. Once you get everything selected that you want to copy, you hit enter or spacebar. It says where do you want to copy it from. So this is your starting point. If you don't have a specific location, if you're just copying them over just to have them, I would recommend clicking somewhere way out here to the side so that it doesn't accidentally snap and get you off. So if I just want to copy a couple of these over, I might click over here and drag it over and copy some examples. Okay, what happens here, notice my ortho's locked in, but it's wanting to snap that little green snap bar down to there to the corner. If I click it right here and I'm too close to something, it causes it to jump to that snap point. So even if I wanted it in a straight line, it jumped on me because it snapped. So just an FYI there. So that's the copy command. So move, copy, rotate. Again, you can select rotate. It says what items do you want to rotate. So now I'm going to pick, let's say, this box. Once you've selected your items you want to rotate, you hit enter. It says specify the base point, just like it did for the move and copy. So let's say I want to rotate this box about this endpoint right here. So I click on there. Now notice if I move my mouse, it's locked in horizontally, vertically. F8 or the ortho turns that off, and F8 turns it on again. So it's the same key to lock that in, turning it on or off. But I can now type in a rotation angle. So let's say I want to go 45 degrees up. And notice on the screen, this is at 0, so 45 degrees would be up this way. So if I type in 45, it now rotated this box about this endpoint 45 degrees up. If I meant for it to go the other way, let me undo that and let me redo the rotate command. I'm going to select the same point, and I'm going to now go down 45 degrees. So I'm going to type in a -45, and notice that it went downward this time, which takes the back end of this rectangle and rotates it up. So that is the move, the copy, the rotate, the mirror. Let's say I want to mirror. Oh, let's deal with this right down here. Let's say I want to mirror this ellipse with the hatch in it. So I select it, I hit enter. It says first point of mirror line. Think of the first point of the mirror line and the second point of the mirror line. That's where a mirror would be. So if you want it to be directly over on this side, you would put your mirror line somewhere straight vertical like this. Okay, if you put it at an angle, notice it mirrors it about the axis. So I'm going to hit F8 and turn on that ortho, and that would be a straight mirror exactly across there. It says, do you want to erase your source object? No, I want to keep them both. And so now this one is mirroring completely from this one. Sorry, this one is a mirror of this one. We could do the same down here. We're going to go back into mirror. We're going to window all of these items here and hit enter. And let's say this time I want it to mirror it based on this surface right here. So I'm going to click this edge, or snap to that edge, and I'm going to snap there. Do I want to delete it? No. So I hit enter, and so now it's mirrored this entire image right over to here. So those are the first 4 commands. Probably should have said erase as one of the first ones, but we have a lot of junk on the screen, so let's erase some of this out. So I simply selected the command, select the items I want to erase, and whenever you select them all, you hit enter, and that tells the computer that you're done selecting everything. Another way you can erase is you can click on a line and just simply hit delete on your keyboard. You can also click on it, right click, and go to erase, and you can do that with a number of the modify commands like move, copy, scale, rotate, some of the most commonly used. By the way, each one of these commands have hotkeys, so M for move, CO for copy, I think it's R for rotate. R used to be redraw. Let me see here. What command did that give me? So if I hit R, enter, so I guess that just simply redrew it. RO gets me rotate, and that would allow me to rotate items like that. Okay, E for erase. Let's talk about some of these other commands here. This trim and extend. So trim and extend allows you to be able to cut items apart, or cut lines, circles, items like that, cut pieces off or extend it out. So let's say that this line right here I want to extend up to this rectangle. I can simply come up here and hit my extend command. Now in the old style of AutoCAD, you set your fence of where you wanted to extend it to, and then you hit enter and you select your line, and it extended it to that line. Newer versions of AutoCAD, you just simply select the command and hit enter or the space bar, and now everything is a potential fence to extend it to. So I click it once and now it goes to that line. I click it again and now it goes to that line. I click it again and it goes to the next line. I click it again and it goes up to the next line. So that is a nice feature in the newer versions of AutoCAD. That's for the extend. Trim is going to be the reverse of that. So if I hit trim, once again, if you want to do a fence, you click on the item first and hit enter, and that sets your trim fence. So for example, if I just want to trim out this little piece, I would select this as a fence, I hit enter, and then I can select this little piece. But it doesn't do the other ones. If instead, let me undo that. If instead I do trim and then I hit enter, every line now is a potential fence. So I can trim out this piece, I can now trim out this piece. I cannot trim this because it's the whole piece. I would have to erase a whole piece here, but I can trim out every little piece there that I don't need. So that's the trim command. We've already talked erase. Let's do fillet command. Actually, we're going to stop right there. And so we've covered in this video move, copy, mirror, rotate, trim, extend, and erase.